Life is more than money. And headship is more than money. All right? It is that as the man of the home, God gives you what is required to bring up your children, to, have a roof over your family's head. That is how much God owes you. God does not owe you particular neighborhoods. It's like what I tell to young people when they want to get married, that if you are a believer and you are willing to take the marriage that God wants to make for you, you will never need to fret and you will never need to borrow money in order to marry. The reason people have to borrow money as believers in order to marry is because the marriage, the wedding that God is willing to make for them, they are not willing to take it. A certain king made a marriage for his son. You've heard me say that story before. That was one of the fundamental things that shaped my orientation going into marriage. From the day it hit me, I knew that my wedding, my marriage was not my responsibility. It was God's. The king makes a marriage for his son. But the problem is, would you be willing to accept the wedding God wants to make for you? If you don't want to accept it, you will have to take responsibility for all the other innovations that you want to add to it. So, if what I can afford is to live in Tudunwada on the basis of my day job that I'm doing in the course of fulfilling the ministry God has given to me, all right? It's almost impossible that there will be any place we live as a person now in Jos that will be worse than the place that I lived when I grew up. And the point in saying that is that it is from those same places that I grew up that God helped me to where I am at. My children, therefore, cannot be disadvantaged, objectively speaking, because I don't live, let's say, in the best part of town and whatever, they don't go to the most expensive school. So eventually it will come down to saying that there is a level at which you establish responsibility. And then there's a level beyond that which it is now luxury. God expects the man to be responsible. All right? The man is not commanded, the man is not obligated to provide luxuries. But the man cannot not be responsible. So wherever the opportunities for luxuries would come from, that is simply an addition. The reason why they live in that neighborhood is not because the man is irresponsible. Right? It is simply because the woman is one of the persons working in the home, and then on the basis of the monies that come through the woman, in addition to whatever the man makes, it means that they are able to live in a place that they would not have been able to live if it was only the man that was making money, or if it was the man that was making more money, as the case may be. But it does not mean that if this woman was not working, this family, will be begging. Do you get my point? So long as a man is responsible and the man is living out divine ordination, living in God's ordination for him, first and foremost, to say that headship has nothing to do with luxuries, the provision of luxuries, or making more money than your wife, for a very long time. For a very, very, very long time. It did look to me, especially when I was thinking that I was going to be a primary school teacher, I was not hoping that my wife will be any less than me, whatever she was going to be. I was actually thinking that would be God's method of of solidarity with my with my classroom teaching aspirations. All right? So, as a person, biblically, there isn't anything that I see that is wrong in that scenario. And personally, I wouldn't have a problem with it. Like, we can always do with more money for God's sake. And if we are a unit as a man and wife, at that point, it really wouldn't matter where the money is coming from. So long as both of you are doing the things that you should be doing under God. When that money comes eventually, it is therefore now our money. And if your marriage is what it is meant to be, how that money is spent would not be your money, my money kind of thing. And sometimes there are insecurities, but that's a local problem. It's not a theological issue. All right? It's a local problem. It's the persons involved that are having that problem. The problem is not a biblically founded problem in any way, shape, or form.